Kia ora everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Amy, aka Amy Ward Art, and the colouring journal's on the table, so it must be our favourite video of the month, everything I coloured in January 2024. So I will move this to the side and we will start going through the pages, and then at the end of the video I'll also talk about my goals for 2024 and what you can sort of expect to see over the next year. Hopefully. But I know some people aren't quite interested in that, so I'll put that at the end so you don't have to hang around if you don't want to. So the first page I completed is from A Million Sweet Things by Lulu Mayo. And I completed this one on the very first day of the year. This was my very first page completed. It was so close to being finished in 2023. I just didn't quite get there. So yeah, but we finished this beautiful page here. I felt like this was quite a New Year's Eve type page, so that's why I was aiming to finish it at the end of 2023, but hey, things happen. So this entire page has been coloured using Crayola Super Tips with the technique where I put them onto a plastic board and then use a brush and some water to pick it up, and it turns it sort of like watercolour, and then I put it across the whole page. I also used a bunch of Posca for highlights and a bunch of the background details as well. And then, of course, there's some stickles and the fireworks, which I felt just made them feel even more, you know, like fireworks. And the village itself has been done entirely with the Crayola Colour of the World set, which is really a wonderful set. I like how we've got all this colour, but then the town is quite neutral, but it also, with the pink clouds, gives the illusion of like cotton candy and chocolate, and I quite like that. So complete accident, but I like it. So that was Everything in A Million Sweet Things by Lulu Mayo, and it finished off an existing work in progress. So I actually did 2 pages in Luna. Luna is one of the books that I find I grab when I'm either curled up in bed or I am travelling, because of the fact it's hardcover. It's really easy to work on an uneven surface. And I had 2 10-hour car trips this month, and I get quite anxious still with travelling. So this became my travelling book, and so I did 2 pages in here, 1 each way of the journey. I should have marked this one because I never find it. There it is there. Alright, so we have this one here. It's not the greatest work, you know, I've definitely done better, but it served its purpose, which was to distract me on a car journey. So yeah, it's not the best blending. I could go over this and add a few more layers and it would come together, and maybe in the future I will, but I'm also really happy to call this one done because it served its purpose of keeping me from having an anxiety attack on the car journey. You can see where we went over a pothole and my pencil went over here as well. And then when we got to the destination I also added some stickles, so it felt like a little bit more completed with some glitter. But yeah, not the greatest, but it happens. Again, it served its purpose. And then the other one was this one. So recognizing how hard it was to work with the polychromos. Sorry, I didn't actually say that one was entirely polychromos and stickles. No, on the way back, because I knew how hard the polychromos was to work with in the car. This time I pulled out my Cool Lenore water-soluble pencils. And so I shaded this all in on the journey back, and then when I got back to my desk I pulled out my water to activate and smush all the colour together, and then also finished it off with some stickles and some splatter in the background. I also drew in this log because it was just floating in the middle and I felt like it needed something, so I drew her house on a log, like she's a garden fairy looking after all these flowers, and that's her product. So yeah, really happy with how this one turned out, and so that's something I'll keep in mind for future travels, is I will take my water soluble pencils so that I can activate them afterwards, and then they will help with the blending and make the page come together a lot more. But really like how this one turned out. Right, I did a little bit of work in Mythomorphia. I didn't complete a page, but I did work some more on a work in progress. And so we have this page here, which is my tie-dye rose unicorn. So in the background, I have gessoed the page, and then I pulled out my Liquitex acrylic inks, and I just kind of went nuts, splattering them everywhere and merging them together and just creating this real tie-dye background. And then, as you can see, I've been going over the lines with Posca. I've done this a couple of times. It's quite a fun technique for something different. And I just wanted to try it with this page because I know that this rose unicorn is in some of my other Kirby books. So I have another opportunity to like colour this normally or something. So my brain had this idea and I was like, you know what, let's try it. I know I've got another version of it, so let's give it a go. So I made a little bit more progress on the Posca. It's going to take a while, this one. I do also plan to shade in the unicorn a little bit more solidly with maybe some white gouache or quite white pencil, although the gesso does eat up the pencil. So yeah, we're still kind of figuring out this one, but I do like how it looks. It's very graphic, so something a bit different, but it's fun. So we made a bit more progress on that one, so that's still a work in progress. I didn't actually say that was Kirby Rosanes Mythomorphia. If you didn't know, I just so used to Mythomorphia. It's like, it's Mythomorphia. But keeping in the Kirby themes, we have Worlds Within Worlds. And I actually finished off one in here. And oh my goodness, am I happy to have finished this one off. This has been a work in progress for several years. And I am not kidding when I say that. When I started actively posting on YouTube again in February of 2023, I had shown this one in my complete collection. In fact, it's like one of the first videos that I put up during that time. And I talked about how this one had already been a work in progress from like the end of 2021, and I would just come in and colour an element at a time. And so over the last couple of years, it has slowly grown and slowly grown, and then it reached a point where I was like, this side was done, all the big elements around here were done, and I was like, no, I'm just going to sit down and smash this one out and get this one done. And so, yeah, during a live stream, we just sat down, the chat gave me some colour combos, and I would just colour in elements and colour in elements and colour in elements, and just a little bit at a time. It slowly built up, one element at a time. So the background itself is chalk pastels. This is my first and only time I have used chalk pastels. I hate how the background feels. But I was trying something new way back then. And then that was sealed with spray so it wouldn't go anywhere. And then the elements themselves are primarily Prisma, but there is some polychromos in here as well. But yeah, primarily Prisma. And then some of the dots in the background were done with white gel pen. I cannot tell you what white gel pen it was. It was many a year ago I started that. But then when I finished it off, I also used Posca to do all the dots in the background. All the windows were done with a new ivory Posca, which, oh my god, I love the ivory Posca. I'm going to need so many more of them. And then I also used a circle template to draw in some bubbles and added some glitter, because of course we need some glitter. And yeah, I'm just really glad that this massive double page spread is done. And it got an old work in progress page off my list, which is really exciting. So we have Village Charm by Teresa Goodridge, and I did one page in here for my birthday. So during the month of January, it was my birthday, and I had a massive weekend of streaming where I streamed for 5 days in a row. I gave away a ton of art cards. I think it was like 144 art cards I gave away. It was like $150 to ship all that out. I gave away a colouring book, and I just had an absolute blast hanging out with everyone. So this was one of the pages that I did during that weekend, and this one is one that's been on my to-do list for a while because it is so gorgeous. I love this book, but this page in particular just reminded me of something that I associate with my birthday. When I was a child, I used to go up to see my aunt and cousin with my nana, and then we would head over to a little island called Waiheke Island, which is off the coast of Auckland, where there was a summer home that we would stay in for a couple of weeks because, of course, the Christmas, New Year's break is also in the middle of our summer, so it's also the middle of our summer break for schools and work, and it's usually just a big holiday time for a lot of people because it's, sunny and beautiful and everyone goes to have a break. So this picture here just reminded me so much of that holiday home, and I just wanted to colour it in. We never had a dog, but I like the dog on the page anyway. The only thing I regret is that I wish I had done the house lemon yellow, because that was what the house of the holiday home was. But I did include some lemon yellow and some of the teals. And the main thing I just remember is swimming at the beach every day and the glistening blue sea, and the way that the ocean looks is one of my favourite things about this page. It's so pretty and sparkly. So yeah, we used, did I base it? Yes, I did. So I used water-soluble pencils. Could have been Inktense. Did I write this down? That would have been logical. I did. Inktense and the Koldareva water-soluble pencils, polychromos on top, and then Posca and Stickles as well. And yeah, just that water every time just makes me so happy. Right, a new book that I worked in this month that you would have seen on the channel was Astrology Colouring by Jaren. I think that's how that's pronounced. I was really, really pleased to be able to pull this one out because I have not worked in it, and it's a gorgeous book that's been sitting on my shelf for far too long unworked. But also, I don't feel like there's a lot done of Jaren, and she has another book coming out soon that I've actually pre-ordered because I enjoyed this one so much. It's a gorgeous book full of a lot of really lovely details, and it has really good information. I really also wanted to colour this one in January, but I didn't quite get to it. So, but yeah, it's got like the full star signs. It's got the Chinese zodiac symbols, which is what we'll get to in a second. It's got the Native American zodiac, the Egyptian zodiac. It's got like earth elements. It's got some really neat pictures and some really good descriptions as well. And then at the back they talk about some of the tarot cards and then just symbology. Also that cat looking at the stars, so gorgeous. So yeah, if you want a proper flip through, let me know, because I'm happy to do that, because I feel like this book deserves more love. But of course, we are heading into the Year of the Dragon, so I wanted to colour the Year of the Dragon page. I was looking at my books for dragon pages, and that's when I flipped to this one. I was like, oh my god, it's perfect, because it's literally the Year of the Dragon. So this one is a real-time colour along on the channel. It is up as real-time, and then I put all the media that I use in the corner so that you can follow along with the colours if you want to. The entire page is done with Inktense, a gold metallic Posca, Stickles, and I think I use like one black polychromos to just shade it just a little bit more. But yeah, I really like, the gold is so metallic. I wish I could pick it up properly. The gold on the scales just makes it like pop oh so much. And I almost didn't do a background, but then I was talking with some people and we were all like, yeah, nah, it needs just something in the background. So the dark blue is kind of, like I should have done the background first, but the dark blue really does help it pop. It's not the most even of backgrounds, but at that point I was just kind of done. But I don't mind the, like, different tones in the background. The flowers in particular are some of my favourites, and I tried a new technique with that where I only coloured in, like, the centre of it, and then I would activate the ink tints and then drag it out. And that helped pastelise it as well, because if you've ever worked with Derwent ink tints, they are intense pencils. They're so pigmented, which is why they're fantastic, but also you can't get pastel tones, and if you're wanting to use them to go lighter, this is one technique I found that works to help lighten them by laying down, activating the colour that's there, and then using your brush with the remaining pigment and water to drag out the colour before it sets, because once it's dry it's permanent. Another reason why I like ink tints. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how that one turned out, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. So yeah, Astrology Colouring by Anna Yarden. Right, Mythographic Magical Earth, and you might be able to tell by the fact that I have a colouring page tracker in here that I have a work in progress in here, but I do have a completed page as well. This is a new book for me. So Mythographic Magical Earth by Joseph Catimbang. So the first page that I completed in here is this deer with the runes page. I love how this one turned out. Just so gorgeous. I love all the colours. Some of my favourite combos to use as well. I'm just trying to show the stickles, but I don't know if it'll pick up. But there is some stickles on the page too, on all these big stars. Once again, this is Derwent Inktense. I really love how Inktense just lays in this book. All the mythographics and Inktense just work beautifully. But yes, Derwent Inktense, and then Polychromos pencils, Posca as well, to have like the glow on the runes, and then like the stars in the background, and then of course a bit of stickles on the stars. And this one was actually my buddy colour for the month with Colouring Bumblebee, so I will insert Colouring Bumblebee's picture here for you. And yeah, I love how Colouring Bumblebee's page came together as well. We used different colours and we've got such a different mood from it, but it's just always so fun to work with her because we just approach pages in different ways, but with similar ideas sometimes as well. Yeah, I consistently buddy colour with them. They are absolutely wonderful. Please check out their Instagram. They do a ton of buddy colours, so if you're looking for a new buddy colour, I don't know if they are accepting anyone right now, but worth reaching out because excellent buddy colorist. And then the other page that I have in here that I'm still working on is another buddy color that I didn't quite get to finish. It's very close. So this is a buddy color with the wonderful Smalt, a dear friend of mine for many years, and I've seen a couple of sneaks of how theirs is going and it's looking gorgeous. I'm a bit gutted I didn't quite get this finished, but it's what happens, you know, and I did have quite a bad pain month there, so we didn't quite get to everything we wanted, but it is progressing, and I do really like how it's coming together. So there's still just some more refining and shading to do on some of the elements of the page, specifically like the flowers. Some of these leaves could probably use a little bit of refining. Just pushing shadows, and the ladybugs still need some work as well. And I also, of course, want to get some stickles on the page. Probably some gold as well. I feel like it needs gold. I know. I'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's the plan for the rest of the day after I finish recording this, is to get back to this. And so this one uses, actually I've got the list here so I can have a look. It uses gouache and Inktense in the background. And then it is Koh-Lenoir's Inktense and Polychromos for the page itself. Plus there's a little bit of Posca as well for these windows, because I coloured over what I originally put there. Again, the ivory Posca. I'm going to need more ivory Posca. It is a fantastic colour. So yeah, that is a new book worked in, but also a new work in progress created. And then we've got 2 more work in progresses and 2 more completed pages. So, Flower Girls. I decided to start working on an Anastasia Koldareva page. I've already done the Mayumi Ogihara page. In fact, I've done 2 of her work in here, but I hadn't done anything with Anastasia, and I loved this page, so I wanted to try this page. And you might be able to see by the shading just how bad it's gone. So I started by using water-soluble pencils, because I was just going to lay down a base, and it actually ended up lifting and changing the texture on the page. Like, it happens occasionally with Colouring Heaven. Sometimes some of their papers are okay, some of their papers just hate water, and unfortunately that's what happened. It's almost like it just sucks up the pigment and puts it in different splotches, and then creates like a really bad texture on the page, and then the water sort of eats away at other areas, so you end up with this really speckled effect. And so I went over with Polychromos pencils to try and smooth out the shading, and that didn't work. And you can see where it's starting to rip the page as well. And so when I got home, I pulled out an alcohol marker to try and smooth out the pencil a little bit, which did help smooth it out a bit, but is also still streaky. So I might need to go back in with another layer of alcohol marker to see if I can smooth out some more down here. The face I managed to smooth out. It's gone way lighter than it was though, so I need to now smooth out more down here. Yeah, it's kind of turned into a disaster page, so I'll keep playing away at it to try and fix it up, to see what I can do to save it, because I do love the image. And like, if I take away this bottom half where it's like really dark and splotchy now, like, I don't mind the face. Like, it's not great. It's obviously got an area where it's lifted, but I don't mind it. Like, that's livable. So if need be, maybe I can look at just trying to save the hand and then do something where it fades out into a portrait or something. That would be really, really sad to lose the locks, because I love how these are going too. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You can see here I haven't finished colouring, so you can see all some of the disaster areas. Also, I looked up a bat orchid, and this is not the colour of a bat orchid. They're a delicious dark purple black, and so I also want to change that now too. just lots of things wrong. So yeah, this one's we're gonna have to keep working at. I don't know if I'll get back to it this month. It may go onto the shelf until I have the spoons to figure out how I'm gonna fix it up, because yeah, disaster. But sometimes these things happen, you know? It's not completely a write-off. I will figure out something. It's just going to take some time. And it may take purchasing a new blending medium for pencils. So another work in progress that I started that is not a disaster and is going fabulously is in Mythical Hybrids by Jash, who, by the way, absolutely lovely. Got to have a quick chat with him via Instagram when I tagged him in the page, work in progress, and absolutely lovely. So and I knew this one would be a work in progress because I started this one on like the second to last day of the month, so but this was the new stream page. So yes, we're working on this lion lady, and I love how the lion's coming together. Absolutely love it. So I didn't quite finish it in that stream. I was having a bit of bad pain day, so I ended stream slightly early, but I was very proud of what I did manage to get done that day. And I'm really looking forward to tackling this one in February. So this will be the stream page for a while. My plan for it is to actually have yellow in the background as like the center, and then it fades out on these trees, so you get like a bit of a immediate dimension with the shading, because the trees will help bring it in together to the center. And then the same colors that I use on here, I'm going to also use on her body to help tie it all together. We'll have little pops of green as well around, but I'm really looking forward to colouring some more in this. So yeah, I am tracking my colours. So far it is all polychromos. This is a new book as well, so that will be fantastic to have worked in. And then the final 2 pages are both Colouring Heaven. I did a lot in Colouring Heaven this month. They are both new books for me, which is great. But they kind of work together. And I'll explain why in a moment. But first off, we have Enchanted Animals by Kanoko Egusa, who I learnt this month. I've been saying her name wrong all this time. So, yeah, good to know. And then the other one is Fantasy Kingdom by Cris Ortega, who, oh my god, her work is gorgeous. We all know I love Kanoko. Her work's gorgeous, but work is gorgeous as well. So we'll start with Enchanted Animals. So this one was actually what I worked on stream for most of the month. And the reason why is because I actually gave away a copy of this as part of my birthday giveaway, which is wonderful. It was shipped and has been received by its new owner. I happen to have a spare copy that I picked up and held on to for a couple of months so that I could give it away. And there was a few pages that were hotly contended when we started, but there was one page in particular that it was calling out to me. Now, you think I can find it? But yeah, it was so much fun to work on stream. The entire page is done in polychromos pencils. Oh my gosh, the whole page is hiding now. This is why you should mark your pages. There it is. And it is this gorgeous page here. So yeah, the whole page is polychromos with a little bit of Posca. Just a really little bit. No stickles, which is incredible for me. But yeah, primarily polychromos pencils. And we spent ages on it, but I loved every minute of it, which is one of the reasons why last year I made the decision to slow down, because when I slow down and don't focus on trying to churn out pages and instead focus on the creation, I love it so much. And that's exactly what happened here. I spent ages building this stone texture into the wall, adding little moss elements to the page, and really focusing on my color choices. And I just love how it turned out. So yeah, we started with the background. So I started with the green, yellow, brown combination, and really loved how that combination was going. And then as we worked our way through, it was suggested that we do this almost Victorian colours inspired, so the pale baby blue and the pale pink, which I loved. And yeah, just focus on bringing those elements around. We tried to use references where we could for certain things, so hydrangeas, which I've never coloured before. I love how this bush turned out though. And then I can't remember the actual bird, but that was an actual bird that we looked at. Perfect colours. And then the cats are dilute calicos, which are pastel calicos, whose colours I thought really suited the page as well. So really pleased with how that turned out. But while working on this page on stream, off stream, I was working on my page in Fantasy Kingdom. And the reason that these two are kind of counterparts is that same, oh my gosh, my hands, that same green and yellow and brown base that I worked with around here is what I used in here. But instead of using the cooler pinks, purples and blues, I changed the complementaries to be bright pink, peach, coral, warm tones. So this is cool and this one is warm. So they actually are quite complementary because they use the same base tones but are very different in feeling. So I worked on the Forest Nymph page. Again, this is all polychromos with a touch of Posca for some highlights, but primarily polychromos pencils. So the same greens, the same browns, the same yellow, but instead this time I worked in pinks and peaches and coral as well. And it's not a combo I often do, but I love how it turned out, especially the dress. And her skin was a lot of fun to do as well. So yeah, if I put the two side by side and hopefully have less shine. Sorry, I'm trying to not get the shine on the page, but I don't think it's going to work. So you can see the same greens and the same browns across here. Same base, different complementary colour, completely different feels to the page. I mean, yes, they are different topics and different styles as well, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. Oh, and on this one too, I did add a little bit of glitter. I just used a glitter gel pen to put some sparkle on her belt because I felt like it needed it. She needed a little bit of glitter. But yeah, that was everything I completed in the month of January. I hope you enjoyed seeing these pages. So now let's talk about our goals for 2024 and what the plan is. So you might have heard me mention a couple of things during that of like, oh, it was a new book I worked in, or oh, it's a new working page that is created or finished off. And that's because I have two big goals for this year. One of the big ones is to work my unworked books. So in the end of 2023, I created this big spread here. This is a visual representation of my colouring book collection. There is a couple more I need to add on there now, but you can see I've got room to expand. I also have a third page if needed. And I literally just drew in this bookshelf, drew in a bunch of books, and then wrote down the titles of every book on my shelf. And then with a light blue highlighter, I coloured in every book that I had already worked in previously to the start of 2024. And then anytime I work and complete a page is the key there, in a new book, then I get to colour it in pink. And hopefully by the end of the year, this shelf will be a lot more full, because right now we've got a little bit of blue, but there's still a lot of white on here. So that is the plan with that. And then if I do manage to brave giving away and culling some of my colouring book collection, which I am contemplating, I'm just going to add in a little sign here and just add in grey, and I will grey out any book that I get rid of during the year. So that's one of the big goals for the month. And so what I've been doing is I've been tracking my worked versus unworked totals, including my collection. So this month I got 3 new books, and which brings my total to 225. I wrote the new total, but I didn't write how many new books I actually worked in. So it was Astrology, Colouring, Mythographic, Enchanted Animals, and Fantasy Kingdom, which are, yes, the 4 that I completed. So it should be 4 for a total of 83, and now worked in. Check my math versus the previous one. 79, yes. So yeah, I worked in 4 new books, which means my total new worked in is 83. Which means that I've gone from 35.6% to 36.8% of my collection worked. So obviously if I'm bringing in less books and working in more new books, this will grow a lot more. And then you can see my work in progress. So my previous total was 19. So there are technically 4 work in progress pages. However, these 2 of them were like existing whips that I just developed more, I believe. That's how it works. Yes, because Ladybugs, it was already a whip, and then Mythomorphia was also an existing whip. And then there's 2 new whips created. So, and then I finished off 2 whips, which means our total is now 19, which was it was previously. However, my 2022 whips, which is whips that were created in 2022 or earlier, went down 1 because that was previously 9. So yeah, that's the other big thing that I'm working on this year. This was my start of the year work in progress that I had, and then anything that is highlighted in pink is something that was created in 2022 or earlier. So they're really old whips, and then anything that's not coloured is things that were created in 2023. So you can see we've already managed to take 2 off the list, which is fantastic, but then of course we added 2 to the list, so no change. But the goal is to get that down to single figures, which means 9 or less. And right now it's at 19. So I feel like this is very achievable. But yeah, the goal this year, get my work in progress list to be single figures and keep it at single figures. I will always have pages on the go, so I'm not expecting to never have whips. But single figures I feel like is a really good goal to aim for work in progress pages. And then just trying to focus on working in new books and working in more of my shelf is what I plan for 2024. So expect a lot of various books, different books that I haven't worked in, things that have been sitting on my shelf for a long time, unloved, a lot of interesting books. So yeah, I'm really excited to bring forward the year. If you have seen my complete collection tour and you know some of my books and you're like, oh, I'd love to see that one worked in, please let me know, because that will probably push me more towards working in a book if I know somebody wants to see it. For the month of February, of course, we have February, so there will be a couple of theories. I have a couple of dream items colouring coming in, which I'm excited about. I already have a bunch of pre-orders that are coming in as well, so it's like, okay, a lot of books coming in, so we've got a lot of books to get working into, and a lot of buddy colours as well, which is quite different for me, but I'm excited for it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye!